Guys, welcome back to another salvage auction analysis. And when I did one of these on a Ford GT just about 3 months ago, I didn't think that I would be doing another nearly as close to the proximity as we are today. The second Ford GT to run through salvage auction in just about 3 months. And this one, it might be worse. It's definitely rough, but more importantly, it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to be bidding on this car. The last one, the guys down at Goonzquad were in the action almost until the very end. It sold for $170,000. It did not go to them, but it's entirely possible that they could be in on this car. This one is running through IAA. The last one ran through Copart. You can see it is pre-bid to $81,000. I have to imagine it's going to go much, much higher than that. We're going to go ahead and skip to the good stuff right off the bat, the run video. Okay, you got a couple revs in there, but sounded good with no exhaust, even though it was distorting the audio. Another listen. Well, it's safe to say that the guys at IAA were having a little bit of fun with that thing, but I really can't blame them. As we're scrolling down, this one is on the West Coast, Portland, Oregon. It is a salvage Oregon title, which means that it is rebuildable, not a certificate of destruction or anything, even though the damage on this thing might have warranted that. Keep scrolling down. Actual cash value, $460,000. When you see that at salvage auction, normally what that means is that is what the insurance company paid out on the car. This one, it doesn't even have an estimated repair cost, and it is being sold by an insurance company. So that means that we don't really have to worry about the research side of things where we're going to look up the salvage auction history, because if this was a rerun through auction, it wouldn't be being sold by an insurance company. Jumping into the pictures here, this thing went for an absolutely wild ride. When you get this much damage all the way around a car, the only way that that can happen if there is some seriously high speed involved. Sometimes you get some heavy impacts in one area of the car where it maybe wasn't going as fast as you would think. This is not the case. This thing has significant damage all over, which means it hit something and started spinning and kept hitting stuff for a good while. We'll get to that whole clamshell at the back because that thing is just looking insane. You can see the windshield, the door line, the door itself, just tons and tons of damage. The hood, maybe the headlights survived. Obviously the hood, obviously the bumper is damaged. It looks like some of the structure under the bumper there, which looks like ducting from this angle, maybe survived. But get around to the other side, you can see that that fender is definitely going to have to probably be replaced. But similar to last time, how many parts are available for these cars? Like, there's so much damage on these that normally you would say, yeah, replace it. But can you replace it is the question. And luckily, the wheels, I'm going to bring up a high point here. Most of the wheels look to be right in the correct location. You can see some camber back there where there's probably some suspension damage, but the last one that ran at auction, it was missing an entire suspension corner. So this one at least has its 4 wheels on the ground, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to have to do a ton of work on each suspension corner to get this thing back to being able to roll and ride on its own. You can see the door on this side looks like it might be in worse shape. Maybe more importantly is the fact that it lines up nowhere near where it's supposed to for it to close, which could be the door itself, you know, the hinges, things along those lines. But where my concern would lie is that, you know, basically the entire roof structure on this car is completely compromised, which I don't think is a far stretch as you continue around the car. This is maybe the worst angle on it. That clamshell is just ripped up. Absolutely crazy damage. The fact that the wheel, again, looks mostly where it's supposed to is pretty wild, seeing how much of the body got pulled off of this thing. You see that door is just completely mangled. There you can see the door has swung open on the passenger side, and I don't think that exposes any new damage to us, but man, the clamshell on this side suffered a bunch of damage too. It's just absolute carnage. That's the only way to describe it. And as I'm looking, actually, I could be mistaken that these actually have a rear hatch, and those are essentially rear quarters, which would make the repair on this a whole lot easier. I was thinking that the whole back was like a clamshell structure, but I could be wrong on that. I'm sure you guys have already let me know down in the comments. Moving inside, those look like some, maybe cheap Pet Boys seats, which kind of stinks if somebody went through this and pulled some stuff off, but you got a project on your hands one way or another if you're going to be repairing this thing. So putting another set of seats in it is probably the least of your concerns. This picture right here is maybe like the most shocking, where the vehicle identification tag is, which should be in one of the door jambs. And you can just see how you can't even read half the tag because the metal is folded around it so significantly. And that's just absolutely crazy to see. Really, there's only one thing left to do. This thing's about to go through auction. Let's see what it sells for. And then based on everything we've seen, we'll get to basically judge if we think that it was a good deal or not. Here we go. No way. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say, if that thing went for that number, whew. Wow. $83,000 for that car? Now, with that being said, it didn't sell. That was with a reserve on it. That's why you saw it popped up and it said if bid on it. And I'm shocked though. $80,000 for that car. The last one that sold, I didn't think was leaps and bounds better than that at $170,000. I don't know if maybe people didn't know about that one or what, but I'm gonna guess that that is not gonna be accepted by insurance, which means that I will get to put at the end of the video here what the buy it now on that car is. I'm kind of like having, almost like buyer's remorse, like second guessing myself for not throwing a bid on that. Like I wasn't expecting it to stay there, so I wasn't even considering putting the money out, but I feel like that would have been maybe not a bad spot to put a bid on. I know that engine is worth a ton of money. So one way or another, let me know what you think down in the comments. We'll see what insurance says they want for that car. And yeah, should be pretty interesting. So thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video.